Okay. Um, what is a healthy way of relating versus a dysfunctional one? Healthy ways of relating usually rely on verbally expressing your needs in a way that is self-contained and is also respectful of the other person. So it's like being straightforward, forthcoming about your needs and about what you want to accomplish, and about what you want to, about the kind of support that you require, about the kind of uh, goals that you're looking to accomplish. So all of that being expressed in a way that is extremely straightforward and forthcoming. Dysfunctional ones are where there's some kind of a power play going on, like instead of explicitly saying, I think this one's a bit hard to answer, but I'll try. A dysfunctional way of relating could be when you're sort of in a position of power and you're trying to extract a feeling out of your workers, your employees, and so that's like a dysfunctional way of working where one person is sort of like going on this ride where they're trying to extract influence rather than actually positively influencing people. So an example could be one person trying to dominate the entire group by imposing his or her ideas onto the people, and even like in a domineering way. That's the best that I can come up with as of now. Next question is, what exactly is good faith versus bad faith interaction? Good faith is basically the way that I described it, where you're extremely straightforward and forthcoming about your intent, about your agendas. And bad faith is acting in a way that is deceitful, where you're trying to dupe others, and you're like power plays are basically that, where you're trying to bask in the reflected glory of the fact that you got other people to obey your commands or something of that sort. I mean, that's an example. I suppose it doesn't really do justice to the question, but I think I'll get that but in the next video. Why do humans default to ego or survival instead of truth? I think humans are terribly self-unaware people. Like, I think we're social animals. We're not really self-aware animals, and I think we all inherit certain epigenetic conditioning, and also we also go through a lot of conditioning at school and with our parents that we learn to cope with them in dysfunctional ways. And I'm not saying there's no good left. There's a lot of good, but the way of relating with each other becomes dysfunctional in the process of going through that kind of process. And that leads to, subtle threat systems being activated, which you might not fully recognize when you're in this sort of ego survival power play kind of a thing going on. Survival is easier to explain in that sense, because as in when you land into the workplace, it's glaringly obvious that people are out to protect themselves and that you need to have your guards up as well. But for some people, the guards, the shields that they employ, become dysfunctional in the sense that they start sort of disrespecting the sovereignty of other people. If everyone is aware at some level, why doesn't the system correct itself? Because I think the system sort of punishes the ones who are even aware of it. If you're aware and in a corporate workplace or any kind of a workplace, I think it's glaringly obvious that the need to preserve the status quo is stronger than the need to adapt and evolve, because adapting and evolving would require each individual to sort of reflect on their roles, on the role that they've played in the dysfunction, and also to change their ways of being, their ways of operating within the system. Can a strong ego ever be useful, or is it always bad? I don't think I have an answer to that one, but I think it's almost always bad. Are hierarchies themselves the problem, or how we relate within them? No, I think it's hierarchies aren't in themselves the problem. The problem comes when someone uses that hierarchy to further their own agenda rather than the agenda of the organization that put them there in the first place. What does this look like in a normal office day? I don't know. How do I know if I'm playing a role right now? I think if you're constantly scanning the work environment and constantly basically are worried and stressed and tensed because of the office workplace, that's a really good sign that you're playing a role and it's starting to hurt you, because most of office stress doesn't come from the work itself, but from the people that assign that work, or the people whom you have to engage with whilst working. What can I actually do differently tomorrow? I think the best thing that people can do is to just self-reflect. I think that's the one thing that I would definitely recommend. Yeah, I'll catch you in the next video.